Hey guys, welcome to the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson, and I am back with another new artist for this week. I love their music. They talk about their life in so many different ways. The storytelling is phenomenal, and I love their song 21 Days. It just has this really nice melody to it, and it grabs you as you kind of get captivated in the lyrics and also with the melody and the beat as well. So without further ado, we had to have him on our show for 2023. Let me help you welcome to the stage the beautiful and talented Angela Perry of Thistle Breeze. Yay!
Yay, 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 yay. Thanks. Thank you for letting us be on today. This is so awesome.
No, thank you for being on our show. So can you tell the audience, how did you get started in the industry, music industry, and what were some of your musical influences?
I have liked music since I was a little kid. So I've been involved in music since I was probably 6 or 7. I actually started taking piano lessons. And as you can see behind me, I'm actually a school teacher as well. So I teach school. I actually teach music. There's guitars behind me right now, and I have pianos out here and everything else. So I
Okay.
teach high school students as well, music. But I got started because music has always just been a huge passion of mine, and I've always wanted to tell the story. And I've had, a lot of things that have happened in my life. So that's kind of where I'm at, and we just started doing that. And my partner Steve also has a huge story to tell, and he's a singer songwriter as well. And so we kind of collab together. And in the last year or so, we've kind of started our own little duo group, Thistle Breeze. I was doing my own thing, and he was doing his own thing, and so I still do my own thing, but he does too. But then we also do things together. So
I
that's
love
kind
it.
of where it at.
I love where did you get of the concept of the name Thistle Breeze? Where did that come from?
So I'm originally from Kansas. I live here in Colorado now, but I'm originally from Kansas. And the thistle is actually not, I mean, it's a weed, but it's really not a bad plant. It actually has a lot of medicinal purposes behind it. I don't know if people know that. And it actually is the national flower for Scotland, because it has a story behind it, whereas it protected these soldiers back in like 300 or 400 years ago from being invaded. They actually were in the middle of a patch of thistles, and it actually protected them from being overtaken. So it's a very resilient, very, it'll grow anywhere. It'll be really prolific about anywhere. And so I just thought about the fact that thistles can grow anywhere, that they survive anything, and they stick it out. And they're beautiful in their own way. So that's kind of where we got the idea of calling ourselves Thistle Breeze.
And it almost blends in with the character of you both are. Y'all very strong. You
Right.
have a strong character. Y'all could withstand all the test of time. And it just really goes with your name, and also it goes with who you are as a group as well. I love it.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. I think it really, really does match that. So
Love
yeah.
it. I know there's a message behind that name.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very unique name, Thistle. And I just got educated. I didn't know it was a plant. So I have to definitely look up the plant and get more information about that because I love plants. But that's on a side note. So let's talk a little bit about your challenges and success stories as an artist. What are some of your challenges and stories as an artist?
Well, and I'm not just saying this, but being a female in the music industry is tough anyway, just because it's hard on your personal life. I can tell you that it can be hard on your personal life. You're on the road. If you're doing that, there's so many challenges to being a musician anymore. You're a marketer, you're a songwriter, you're a performer. There's just so many things that you have to do. You're a recording artist. There's so many things that you're doing and trying to juggle. Plus, the industry, you have to make money too. So you have to be able to live. So there's just all these different challenges just to be a musician in general. I was a teenage mom. So I actually had my daughter when I was 15. And so she went to high school with me. So that was a challenge in and of itself, because music's always been my passion, but I also needed to provide for her. So I've always learned the kind of a strong work ethic because of that. And so it just takes a tremendous amount of drive And some of the challenges have been because we are singer-songwriters. Not every place wants you because they just want entertainment. And we are entertainers, but they just want a band that plays cover songs all the time, which we can do that as well. But they original music, sometimes people don't sometimes want to hear original music. So that's been a challenge for us, a little bit, for as far as that goes too. So
Well, you know what? And I think that's a challenge for most artists as well, especially when you're a creative person. So you have this music, you have these creative flares, and you have this creativity that you want people to share in your experience, which is your music. And I get it. Most places or venues want cover songs, but I think also it's great to have your own music and have that energy be experienced among people, the public that comes to these places. And that's how a lot of these other superstars now have gotten their breaks because they were able to play some of their own music at venues and things of that nature as well. And I think that's the challenge that most artists go through now today, especially with, we have all these musical platforms that we didn't have 20 years ago. So
right,
you can
right,
definitely, it gets overwhelming and you have a lot of people singing covers, but the authenticity, I think, is something that's starting to be lost within the music industry because everyone wants to sound the same, everyone wants to do the same. And I think it's all about really finding your voice and finding, what drives you. And you can evolve from that. And I think a lot of reps or music execs are scared to kind of go outside the box because they're being controlled and they being told what they should listen to, what's hot. And like you said, it's all about making money. But you can still have your own niche and still make money because there's
correct.
so many people who have broke through barriers, whereas a time maybe 50 years ago where you didn't have like rap music wasn't a thing. So I mean
Right.
that was something that was new and incoming and people did, and then it finally broke barriers. Now you have an abundance of it. So I just think just keep on pushing, guys, for the things that you want in life. And Thistle, Breeze, Angela is a living testimony to keep on striving for your goals and the things that you really desire in life, and don't give up if you really believe in yourself and your product.
Right. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
a lot.
I'm sorry, what you going to say, Angela?
So no, I said I just really appreciate you saying that because that's I agree with you. But I really appreciate you saying that about us. That's great.
You're welcome.
Thank you
That's
so
why
much.
You're welcome. That's why you have music platforms like the 101 and 10, because we want to hear the authenticity and the genuine music that comes from artists. So I like to hear new and fresh stuff. I get tired of hearing old and the same thing over and over and over again. And there's a lot of people like myself who are in the um, same space, same phase of their growth and want to hear something new and something different. So let's talk. I forgot to ask you, what were your musical influences growing up?
Um, I loved Bonnie Raitt. Bonnie Raitt was one of my favorites. I sing a lot of soul and blues. Folk soul and blues is kind of my thing. And I do a little bit of rock too and country, but those are kind of like my major influences. Bonnie was huge in my life. Melissa Etheridge, I loved
Yeah.
Melissa Etheridge. Any female, I love Beth Hart. I love her too. I even love Joni Mitchell and her storytelling. So those were some of my major influences as far as that goes. Some of my home influences was my grandmother. My grandmother was probably she was not musically inclined at all, but she was one of my biggest and best supporters of my music. And she would sit there and listen to me when I was bad. I mean, and so she was a huge influence on my life as far as keeping going. Just do your best, and try again. So
Love it.
that's kind of where some of my major influences were.
I love it. And you said all great women powerhouses that are doing so many great things that help influence you to be the person that you are today. So even if grandmom is not here no more, shout out to grandma being
Yeah.
that major strong supporter in your life. Now let's talk a little bit about your music. Now you have Colorado Blues, you have Sister Cry, and you also have 21 Days. Now, can you tell me just a little bit about your music and what was some of the inspirations for those three songs?
So 21 days, and we're actually back in the studio again. So we have some new music coming out. So by the way, which is actually even better than this by far. I think it is anyway. But 21 Days was set up because, again, with women in the industry, we never hear the woman's side of the story, right? So my idea is that I want to tell the woman's side of the story, not just the male side of the story, because there's guys could do it all the time. So I'm just going, well, us girls need to talk about our side of the story. So 21 Days is all about finding that guy, and he's bad news, and it could be a guy or a girl, doesn't matter, and finding whoever the other one is, and they're bad news, man, and you know it, but you end up going with them anyway. And so that's what that song is all about, and about knowing that it is, but you do it anyway. And I think there's a lot of us that I have been there myself. so I've been there, and so I'm trying to give the females perspective on that one. And it's just a kind of a fun song because of the fact is that that's actually all happened to me. So I just gone, and so with my clothes in my hand, no less than everything else. So, I just want to tell that side of the story a little bit on that song. Sister Cry is actually for Indigenous women. For the murdered and missing Indigenous women, there's about 6,000, if not more, that they can actually attest to right now, that they actually know about. But I think I know the number's a lot higher than that, of women that are murdered or missing. And there's now more publicity about it, but there hasn't been. And this has been going on for years and years and years. And women are just missing, and nobody's looking for them. And it's Native American women mostly, and Indigenous women, especially in Colorado, South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, and even in Canada. And so that song is actually their voice talking to us about, hey, please, I'm just, it's their voice, their ghost, basically. And then Colorado Blues, again, is a song about, and that's actually a true story too, about somebody left after they'd been with me for a while and had left me here in Colorado. So, yeah.
I love how all your music is relatable by far. And I love the fact that you dedicate Sister Cry to the Indigenous women, because I know that has been such an epidemic with women of Native American descent disappearing, and people have not been able to find them. They can't trace them. Sometimes they find them and they're already murdered and gone. So I think that's a great song. I love that. Now I know that it is. I'm going to dedicate that to 2023.
Thank you. Yeah. And actually, to be honest, Sister Cry actually fits for all women. I mean, all women that have been murdered or missing, and we could take that all across the world. I mean, about that whole issue. I mean, it's far more reaching than just Indigenous women. When I originally wrote it, I wrote that for that because I was thinking about that. But after I wrote it, I'm going, this is for all women, in all areas that have been not accountable. There's no accountability for what has happened to them. So
that's definitely a beautiful song. And guys, make sure you check out all of their music on SoundCloud, Spotify. Where else can people find Thistle Breeze music on, Angela?
So Thistle Breeze is actually on Angela Perry Music. That's me. Thistle Breeze and we're kind of synced in. So we have a website for Thistle Breeze and Angela Perry Music. So if you go to Angela Perry Music, you're going to find everything. And like I said, we're in the studio now, so we'll have new releases coming up. Actually, we have one called Drops of Love that's very, very relevant too. We'll be releasing that here in January. But we have all of these songs that are very relevant. And you can find us on Angela Perry Music. You can find us on SoundCloud, like she said, Spotify. You can find us Instagram, Facebook. You can, we have our YouTube. You can find us on my YouTube channel. You can just go anywhere and find us.
And guys, you can book them for upcoming events as well. So if you have any upcoming events coming up in 2023, make sure you book them, especially if you're in Colorado area. So they are in your hometown, they're in your state. So make sure you follow them, make sure you get all their new music, and make sure, of course, you book them for your upcoming events. So
that'd be great. Yes, awesome.
Thank you so much, Angela, for being on a 101 and 10. And shout out to your counterpart who isn't here. That's Mark, right? You said it was Mark?
That's Steve.
Sorry.
That's
Steve.
okay. That's okay.
Shout out to Steve.
He'll go by any name.
And shout out to Steve that wasn't here. You definitely were missed, but your presence was felt through this interview. And again, guys, make sure you go to Thistle Breeze website, which is going to be below this video, so you can make sure you follow them, connect with them, and of course book them for your upcoming events. And thank you for watching the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson. You never know who's going to be on the next episode. Stay tuned, continue to stay well, guys, and bye.